This Easter egg took over 14 years to find, and let's be honest, it's because most of us skipped over this seemingly forgotten GTA game. When you think of the GTA 4 trilogy, we always forget that Chinatown Wars also takes place at the same time, but the top-down gameplay is just way too much, so I remastered the game in 3D to get a better look at over 20 Easter eggs and secrets in GTA Chinatown Wars. I always wanted to see what was underwater in GTA 4, but back before these amazing mods existed, we couldn't swim underwater in GTA 4, and now that we can, well, there's actually nothing under here. But GTA Chinatown Wars, on the other hand, does an amazing job at featuring underwater Easter eggs that were not in GTA 4, although it takes place at the same time. And I just gotta say, video game oceans are terrifying, they're eerie, but they're also one of my favorite categories of secrets. So the first one can be found at the edge of the map, and it's a message that says, "Here be dragons," and this is a reference to Old English folklore when they thought the edges of the earth and the unexplored areas were surrounded by dragons and other mythical creatures. Near the pier appears tons of barrels of nuclear waste dumped into the waters of Liberty City. A pirate ship can also be discovered, which is really neat because above water at the shipyard, we can find a model of the unsunken version of this boat. The same goes for these small wooden boats that are also all around the waters. We can also find above water unsunken versions of these same boats. Now there appears many different tugboats that are the same, just copy and pasted all around Liberty City. The same goes for these medium-sized boats as well. They're all the same, but it's just so neat and eerie to come across them in the waters. And the last Easter egg that we have is an amazing throwback to Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories, where Rockstar introduced this smiley face sign. And in the water, we can also find this guy make his last and final appearance in a GTA game, hanging out in the waters of Liberty City. Okay, so this next one I'm a little on the fence about. Literally, get it? Because it's surrounded by a fence. But in Middle Park, we can find what looks to be a well of some sort, maybe a spotlight. It's surrounded by a destroyed fence. And this makes me think of an Easter egg in GTA San Andreas of a bio well. It looks similar in shape. It's also surrounded by a broken down fence, but again, I'm on the fence about this because it made me think of a previous Easter egg, but I cannot confirm that this is what it's supposed to be. But the next three, on the other hand, are done in classic Rockstar fashion. So at the bowling alley, we can see that the sign is very reminiscent of some male genitalia. The same appears in Grand Theft Auto 4, but this one doesn't. In the beach right next to the bowling alley, we can see what is my last name is a rock, Zach Cockrock. And this is something that Rockstar also did in GTA San Andreas out in the desert. And lastly, at Middle Park, once again, we can see that this obelisk also resembles some male genitalia. So that's classic Rockstar right there. Now, this next one is definitely my all-time favorite in Chinatown Wars. It is very unique to this game, and it is at Mr. Wong's laundromat, a location that also appears in Grand Theft Auto 4. But in Chinatown Wars, if we go to this secret alley that's blocked off by a dumpster, behind it we can find a giant statue of Mr. Wong, who owns the laundromat, alongside the phrase, "If it ain't Wong, it ain't white." This is such an awesome Easter egg, not only the vibrance of the colors, but just this giant statue of an Asian man in the alley of Liberty City. So I went here in GTA 4 to check it out, also in top-down mode, but unfortunately it is not there. Okay, so this Easter egg took 14 years to find. GTA Chinatown Wars released in 2009. This was not found until September 2023, but I know some of y'all are gonna say, "Hey, I found this back in the day." You might have, but this didn't hit the internet until last year. So if you go to Bohan with a motorcycle, drive up these stairs onto this roof, and then ramp off onto the scaffolding, you can hop off your bike and you'll fall into a secret alleyway. This is the only way in. And inside you'll find a secret weapon and also a mural of a vibrant Easter egg and an Easter bunny. And what's awesome about this is that this is one of 4 literal Easter eggs in GTA games. In GTA Vice City, atop the Vice City News building, we can find a hidden Easter egg room with a literal Easter egg that says Happy Easter. And in GTA Vice City Stories that takes place 2 years before Vice City, this Easter egg room is actually under construction with a crane and the egg being built. A funny nod because GTA Vice City Stories takes place 2 years before Vice City. And then in GTA 5, in the waters of Cayo Perico, we can find a whale skeleton that also has an alien egg. So again, these are just one of the many literal Easter eggs we can find in GTA, but this took 14 years to discover. Now we can also find a statue with a traffic cone on its head, and what's funny about this is that this is a throwback to an Easter egg in GTA 3 of a statue with a traffic cone on its head, and also in GTA 5. Have you ever noticed this giant chicken with a traffic cone on its head? Well, the reason for this is because it's a reference to the real-life Duke of Wellington statue, where it's become a trend since the 1980s to put a traffic cone on the head of this statue of a man and a horse. So we all know that Claude from GTA 3 cannot talk because he doesn't have a voice, but if you drop him out the sky, he does make a sound. Well, something similar to this happens in Chinatown Wars. Huang Lee, the protagonist of the game, doesn't have a voice, but if he does drown, he can be heard saying, and this is actually a reused line from a Triad member in GTA 4, but nonetheless, he does have a voice. We can also come across a random character by the name of Wilhelm Scream, and he loses everything but his house. Well, then he also loses his house keys, decides it's way too much, and jumps off a bridge. So this character's name is Wilhelm Scream, and when he jumps off the bridge, he lets out the Wilhelm Scream, a very popular soundbite that goes back to the 1950s, and it's used in movies as a comedic gesture when a character dies. We can also receive a spam email in the game giving us some stock market advice from Toni C. And if you don't know, this is a throwback to Toni Cipriani, the protagonist of GTA Liberty City Stories. Now, similarly in GTA 4, if we go to the LCPD database, we can actually find Huang Lee mentioned. And what's neat about this is that GTA 4 came out 1 year before Chinatown Wars, and this protagonist can be seen mentioned in the game. We can also see 3 other characters from Chinatown Wars in the LCPD database. The first is Chen Yaoming, Chan Yaoming, and Zhao Ming, and their criminal history. So it's really neat that Rockstar included these 4 characters from Chinatown Wars in GTA 4, even though the game came out a year later. It's like Rockstar plans ahead of time. I've honestly always wondered that. Do they plan ahead of time, or do they just happen to remember a character and decide to add them into a later game? I don't know, but it's genius, and that's why Rockstar Games is so great at what they do. But these are 20 Easter eggs in GTA Chinatown Wars. Hopefully y'all enjoyed and learned something new about a forgotten GTA game. I hope I can earn your thumbs up and your subscription. Join us next time as we explore the Easter eggs of GTA Vice City Stories. I'm Zach Cox, and thank y'all for tuning in.